How's it going, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and you're back on with me on the Night Owl podcast. I'm really glad you guys are here, actually, because I feel good about the messages I'm putting out there, a little bit more confident, a little bit more relevant, I think. It's not so much about me, it's about, things that are going on in the world right now, things that are happening, that I'm seeing happen over and over, and that I'm able to relate to aspects of my life. And in so doing, I feel like I'm able to give a little bit more insight, and maybe you can see a different perspective on what's going on in your life, so you can maybe deal with it a little bit better, maybe understand, be compassionate, forgive a little bit. So here we go again. I've got another example for you. The other day, I was discussing self-esteem, and I saw a post that was just it got me. It really got me. And basically, it said that self-esteem can be a situation where the other person may not feel worthy of you, but his sudden lack of interest in you will trigger your self-esteem. So where you may have felt like really great and beautiful and you felt sexy and strong and all this stuff, and all of a sudden you got into a situation where you're speaking to someone and they seem interested in you and you seem interested in them, and it could be something. You're going to follow it, you're going to pursue it, and suddenly their lack of interest will affect your self-esteem. Suddenly you will question everything that you are. Is it this about me that they don't like, or is it that about me that they don't like? And it comes from this place where you were completely whole, and you were excited about the fact that somebody found you attractive, and then suddenly their behavior changed, and now you're wondering if you were good enough to begin with at all. So that actually triggers a cycle of codependency. It's like you need them to validate your existence all of a sudden, where before you didn't at all. Now, if you look at your relationship, sometimes you can tell a before and after. Before this person, this era, right? Before the Ming Dynasty, or before the era of Andre Jones, or before the era of Aaron Clark. For me, those are the people that I was with, right? So I could tell who I was before, and then I could see who I was after. And it was a matter of me giving them control, like the reins to my self-esteem, basically. When I went to college, I had just come out of a really big period of growth, because at that time, I had just graduated from high school, thinking about, how am I going to pursue my own life? It was the first time out of my mom's house and living on my own. So I had to define life for myself, which is really quite exciting and scary at the same time. And I had just gone through like this really big period of growth, meaning to say that I had finally kind of grown into my gangly body. I kind of looked okay, kind of decent. And I had really long, beautiful hair. That was my claim to fame at the time. Like, I was beautiful because of my hair. And then I went to India and shaved everything off. Not intentionally. I did not know. I was trapped. I was conned into that. But anyway, what did I do? I came back to the US. I came back to high school. It was the middle of my senior year, and suddenly here I am, bald. And the one thing that I thought was beautiful about me was gone, and I had to find my voice instead. So I was coming into a period of, I'm growing my hair out. My hair looks a little crazy still, but I'm growing my hair out. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I suddenly had the freedom to dress the way I want, to speak the way I want, to stay up until all hours of the night if I want, because my mom wasn't around. I was kind of discovering myself. So I went from that period of, oh my God, I feel free, to suddenly being with somebody and somebody's girlfriend, and suddenly became this idea of, okay, well, how can I keep them pleased? How can I keep them happy? What do I need to change? And what is, what are their preferences, so I can cater to them a little bit? Because, at that time, Beyonce was still talking about cater to your man and all that shit. So, here I was this strong, proud, confident human being. I had gotten into college on a scholarship. I had just come out of high school with, the President's Award for Spanish. I had aced school in high school. I graduated with a 4.2 GPA. I had weighted classes. I had AP English, and I had AP US History. I think I had AP Biology. I had AP everything. I did really well. And I just finished 2 years of coaching PE alongside my PE teachers, because I finished early. I graduated way ahead of schedule because I got really everything done in perfect timing. So I came from that mentality, right? Damn, I'm the shit. I just finished my Bharatanatyam Arangetram. I'm in the best shape of my life. I kind of like my limbs kind of move. I've grown into my limbs a little bit. I was feeling myself, except for the hair. And I finally found a way to speak up a little bit more. I wasn't as timid anymore, because being bald will do that to you. And I came to college ready to take on the world. And then here I became this kowtow kind of person, kind of reduced who I was, and tried to really, to please the person that I was with because I'd never been in a relationship before and I definitely didn't want to have a breakup on my books, so to speak. And it was eating away my self-esteem. It was like it suddenly became one of those things where I had never really considered other people to be competition with me. I knew that they were in a league of their own. People were, they were cool on their own, and I was trying to be cool in my own right. And it wasn't until I was in a relationship where I suddenly noticed all the other girls, and I noticed all the other boys, and I noticed how people treated each other, and I noticed that he spoke to this person more than he spoke to that person, and I started getting jealous, and it ate away at my self-esteem. And suddenly I got into this place where it was a cycle of codependency. He would behave a certain way, knowing that it would pull me back in every time I started feeling myself, and I would fall into it because I was afraid to lose him. So it started that codependency cycle for me. And it wasn't, it lasted for a good 7 years before I kind of got tired of everything and I left him. I walked away. I couldn't do it anymore. Only thing is, I walked into another codependent cycle, but this time it was with kids, and that was even more difficult to leave because of the kids. So what I'm trying to say is, you may feel great about yourself. You may feel like you accomplished everything under the sun. And I'll give you another example. Bruce Jenner, when he was Bruce Jenner, was a freaking Olympian. And he married Kim Kardashian's mom, right? And suddenly he changed. He wasn't this Olympic gold medalist anymore. He had become this house husband. He had changed, and you can see it in a lot of celebrity couples as well. A lot of like people that you know very well. Sometimes, they're the smartest person in the world. They accomplish this. They have so many like certificates and degrees and, accomplishments, but then you get them near somebody who they already don't feel good enough on their own. And so they're trying to make sure that, they keep you in check, they keep you close by. And suddenly here you are questioning everything about yourself, knowing full well they are really not all that worthy of you. So I wanted to talk about that. Codependency can happen to anybody. You can start off whole. You can start off feeling really great about yourself. You could start off in a place where you took years to build yourself into this powerful person. You studied, you learned, you understood, you achieved, you did, you won a lot. And then you can get to this place where you're with somebody who doesn't really match up maybe in the accomplishments that they've had, but maybe they make you feel good in an area that you're missing. And then you succumb to that fear of losing them because that one area of your life suddenly feels really great. For me, it wasn't academia, right? The people that I fell for were not academically like really intelligent or smart or anything, because I felt good about that on my own. I didn't need anyone to validate me there. But I had a problem. I had a difficulty understanding my sexuality, understanding myself as being attractive as a female, because I was never found attractive. I was always bullied. I was the odd one out. I was the one that was disproportionately gangly and tall. I was all elbows and knees. The only thing cool about me, like I said, I thought was my hair. So when I got to a place where I was with somebody who made me feel beautiful or helped me feel more beautiful, I was suddenly afraid of losing that influence that helped me feel beautiful. And I think a lot of times this is why the generation that I'm watching right now, they tend to jump from one bed to another because they're looking for that connection, and they feel a connection when they're having sex, but for some reason they don't want anything more than that, which also means that you're reducing what you are. You're reducing who you are, your efficacy as a human being. Because in an intimate setting like that, completely naked, you find that in order to go through the motions and arrive at your final destination, you accept the person as they are, flaws and all. You don't point out that you look ugly and that I don't like your stretch marks, or you don't point out that, maybe their face isn't all that attractive. You go through the motions as if they're the best thing in the world, and chances are you get swept away in the emotions and the feelings, and you tell people things that you probably wouldn't have told them if it was daylight and you had all your clothes on. But these are the things that misguide people. These are the things that people fall for, and then they go into this codependent relationship unwittingly because they're still searching for that one aspect of the life that they haven't mastered yet, that you help them feel secure in, not knowing that they're giving you all of their power. They're reducing all the other aspects of themselves in order to please this one small aspect. I need you guys to be more aware. I need you guys to understand that codependency can happen to anybody. It doesn't have a specific type of person that, succumbs to these things. It could happen anywhere. It could happen in teacher-student relationships as well. Maybe in a teacher-student setting, you get praised for the things you do well, whereas you don't get praised so often when you're at home. So you spend more time at school. You try really hard to keep those particular teachers around, or maybe it's a colleague of yours that makes you feel important because you don't feel so important in other aspects of your life, and then you keep those people around. And hopefully they're good-hearted souls and they're not so pained or hurt that they use it against you or use it in their favor. But this is what happens. You seek out people that help you heal aspects of your nature, parts of your life that you're not so great at. For me, a lot of times, all the times, anyone that I brought into my circle of trust, anybody that I brought into my life, usually validated an aspect of me that I wasn't really great at. I didn't like very much about myself. People that made me feel good about my body. People that made me feel good about my ability to do sport. I wasn't that sporty, you guys. I like to think I'm very athletic, but there are some things that I'm really not coordinated enough to do. Dance was good. I loved it, but that wasn't, I've like been, I've been told off so many times for dance, but I got to a point where I couldn't make any more mistakes. I was that good, right? But that's what you want. For a long time, I thought I was a great swimmer. Not really. I'm okay. I'm decent. I used to love playing soccer, but not to a point where it was ever organized, where I could actually learn any skills of any sort. I can run really fast and I can kick a ball or so. I have some strength in my legs, but it wasn't a skill set that I mastered. It wasn't a skill set that I mastered in basketball. I wanted to run track really badly, but the people that I was around would make fun of me and tell me that I wasn't good enough, mostly because I'll tell you where it was. It came from my boyfriend because he didn't want to see me in a unitard running track in front of everybody else. So it was things that people did to control me and things that I gave people control over that kind of helped or enabled my codependency. But it wasn't until I realized that, oh, I am with this person because I don't feel good about this aspect of me, and they help me feel good about that. So I tend to seek that person out more often. I want more validation until I feel good about it on my own. So it's in that regard that I started noticing these things, and I started understanding why I was seeking certain influences out, why I was hanging around certain people, why I had a type when it came to, to dating people. And it took me a while, but I realized that it wasn't about the type at all. It wasn't about how they looked visually. It was about how I felt when I was around them. And that's true for everybody. Your friends are usually people that make you feel good and not people that hype you up. I'm not talking about hype people. I'm not talking about yes people. I'm talking about the people that have been tried and true and tested, have been there for years and years and years, are most likely people who have seen you through thick and thin and have helped you feel safe no matter what was going on in your life. And so you keep them around. You keep them because they remind you that you can accomplish things, that you can and are worthy of great love, and that you don't need to reduce yourself ever in order to keep people around you. So in that regard, I want you to pay attention to the people that you're around, especially during the circuit breaker when you've had lots of people behave as they really, really would, because the situation is such that they have no other choice than to be themselves. They really don't have the ability to walk away and say they have a busy schedule or go here or go there or do whatever, because they're basically in the house and they do have their phone by their side and there is a charger close by, and there's no reason why they couldn't respond to you or, write to you or keep in touch. And so you see people's true nature and you understand at some level that they're doing the best they can just like you are. And when it comes to someone who is looking for validation, they're looking for a cycle. There is a pattern to their behavior. And we'll talk about that again in another episode. But honestly speaking, codependency can happen to anyone. You get used to a feeling. And suddenly when you don't have that feeling, you're going to look for it again. You're going to find it again. You're going to chase it again because you're not looking at the actual problem, which is, why do I not feel good about this part of me? Sometimes it's people who validate how you feel about, certain politics or maybe your worldview, or people who allow you to, or give you permission to behave despite what your parents taught you. Maybe it's, people that make you feel safe to wear shorts because your parents told you that you shouldn't be wearing anything short anyway. It's not appropriate. But when you're around these people, they make you feel like, what, it's not a bad thing. It's not sexist. It's not asking for too much. It's not, showing too much skin or anything. It's just a normal thing. And because of the heat and the humidity here in Singapore, it's totally appropriate. So it's that kind of a situation. It's that kind of a feeling. And I hope that as you start to learn to pay more attention to your life and the people in your life and the reasons you hang around certain people, if you can be honest about why you're with those people, honest to yourself. You don't have to go tell them everything. But if you can be honest with yourself about why you hang around those people, I guarantee you can break some of these cycles and heal some of these things that you've been searching for outside of yourself in the first place. Because honestly speaking, if you love the hell out of yourself, nothing anybody says can take that away. Nothing anybody can nothing anybody can say will reduce that, will disrupt that, will disempower you. No one can hurt your feelings without your permission. And a lot of times, when you take offense to something somebody said, it's because deep down you believe part of that. So it's up to you to heal those things. Understand, why do you feel that way about yourself? Why would you even believe something like that about yourself? Is it really true? Is it really appropriate? Is it something that you can heal? And how do you go about healing those things? Now, if you have any questions or concerns, drop them in the comments. And if you want to get with me and talk to me about, how you can really target some of this healing that you have to do, because all of us have to do it. I still have to do it. If you want to talk to me specifically about something that's going on in your life, please hit me up. You know where I am. Send me an email, send me a DM, and let's talk. But until then, you have this podcast, you have my quotes, you have my posts, and I'll catch you again soon. Y'all take care. Bye.